Welcome to Crypto BS. I'm Al.
And I'm Craig.
And welcome to our show. We discuss a little bit about world news, the crypto news, and crypto events. We put out a few of our trades that we're going in on. And actually today is Challenge Day, Craig. Are you ready to discuss how the challenge went?
I am so happy to talk about the challenge today.
You're feeling pretty good about those bots, huh?
I'm feeling really good. Finally got it mostly figured out.
Well, I'm excited. World news. I really think that the world news has a lot of effect on the market, especially in the bear market. That's why we bring it up on the show because of my feelings on it. Craig, we've never really got in depth on how you feel, if it really affects the market that much or not. What do you think about it?
About the world news in general?
Well, not necessarily about the world news, but does it sway the market as much as what I believe that it does? From my experience in the bear market, these big negative geopolitical events have a lot to do with how the stock market runs and therefore how the crypto market runs.
I agree 100%. I mean, I think it's evident whenever you look at just if you take a timeline of events, everything from COVID to Ukraine to everything, you'll see a dip on every single one of those bad news events in crypto as well.
Well, and specifically within the bear market, and we talked a little bit about this last week, was that, good news doesn't last as long. And so when we're looking at the MATIC news from last week, it's lasted a little bit longer than what I had actually expected it to, but it loses some of that potency. It doesn't have quite as much pump to it where it continues on. It's gotten stuck around that $1 mark, and I'm really waiting to see it push through there for that next leg. And to me, that's going to kind of let me know if the market is going to kind of continue up, if it breaks that 101 and pushes all the way up to that 119, 120, because that's when I'm looking to get in on it.
Yeah, I think it's different depending on what market you're in. When you're in a bear market, I feel like any bad news goes a long way and any good news is pretty shorthanded. But then when you're in the bull market, I feel like bad news kind of gets pushed to the side and all the good news just keeps compounding and lasts longer. And so unfortunately, with us being in that bear market, this good news, although it has been sustained for pretty much the whole last week, it'll be interesting to see how much longer it'll hold up before it comes back down.
Well, with that being said, we'll kind of get into it. Let's start with a little bit of oil and gas information. The gas prices here in the U.S. are starting to come down. Most of us have seen that, about a 20 cent difference over the last week or so. Don't think that had to do anything with Biden going and fist bumping the Saudis, where he did discuss the chance of them increasing their oil production right on the heels of him giving away 500 million barrels of oil to the Chinese out of our strategic oil reserves. I think what it did do was encourage Putin to go ahead and shore up some of his alliance there in Iran and make sure he's going to continue to work deals with them. They did send him several hundred payload carrying drones to help fight in the Ukraine. As far as the other issues with oil goes, and I guess gas more so, the pipeline that is due to be turned back on tomorrow, Nord Stream 1, most of us are tracking that. I think that's going to have a huge effect on the market come tomorrow, one way or the other. If it does turn back on, I think that this rally that we're seeing right now will continue on. But I also kind of wonder if some of that is not already priced in. Craig, do you think that the de-pairing of the euro with the dollar last week was some of that pricing in of whether or not the Russians are going to turn the pipeline back onto Germany?
Yeah, I think that's definitely a concern, but honestly, I don't know that I'm well versed enough in world currencies to have a strong opinion on that.
Well, I think that's something that we definitely need to be aware of tomorrow. I'm not really excited about having a lot of trades going in tomorrow. I do have some longs that are in right now, but the way that the market has been moving. It's got me a little bit nervous on both sides of it. I think that if the Russians don't turn the gas back on tomorrow, okay, well, is that going to really start crushing the Europeans and therefore bleed over into the run that we've got right now? So I'm watching cautiously. I'm a little bit optimistic, but I do think long term this is just a bear rally that's going to come back down. The other big news is Sri Lanka. The Sri Lankan central bank put out a warning citing crypto's unregulated nature. Good call, Sri Lanka. It's pretty laughable that the central bank is worried about the unregulated nature of cryptocurrency when the regulated nature has increased their inflation to 57.4%. You guys are doing a really good job. Way not to be worried about the central bank. Their food prices are up 80% in a month. In 1 month.
In 1 month?
1 month up 80%.
Dang.
I mean, there's a reason why the riots are there. They've called the army up. Their president and some of the staff, they're in hiding over there. And they should be. This is what bad policy does. Bad politicians, bad policies equal bad results for the people. When things are so shady that the impact on the people it's deafening for those people. They can't breathe. They don't have fuel. They don't have food. What are they going to do? Well, speaking of bad policymakers.
Uh-oh.
Nancy Pelosi.
Oh, good old Grandma Nancy.
Oh yeah. So and we blame it on Nancy, but Paul's the one that's putting in the trades because we know that she is the greatest trader of all time.
The greatest trader of all time.
Not Warren Buffett. Nah. No.
Not even close.
Nowhere close.
Not once.
However, the Pelosi's are absolutely killing it. Never miss a trade. Never. Only person on the planet, Paul Pelosi.
So what news do we have on Pelosi today?
Well, so there's two things. There's the one portion of it is that the NVIDIA trade. So he's gone in and bought a bunch of chips. They're putting forth a bill in Congress to try to lower some taxes in order to bring the chip makers back to the United States, put a little hurt on China in the meantime. Apparently, Paul really thinks that this deal's going to go through. I wonder how ever he could know such a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the other news for me that I think is big is that they sold off a lot of their Visa. Now, this is big, and I think that this is a direct impact to the market. Nobody's talking about this part of it yet. But last December, Visa started a consulting service for crypto. In addition to that, they've invested in crypto platforms. Now, they don't list all the platforms that they have invested in. They did say that they have 65 wallet partners, which doesn't necessarily mean that they invested in it. But they did say that they invested in BlockFi, which is struggling financially. And that's where FTX has come in kind of to save them. But have they invested in other platforms? And if so, which ones? Because it does say platforms, plural. Did they invest into Celsius? Did they invest into Three Arrows or Voyager? I think we'll see that on their balance sheets next week. They're due to report.
So your conclusion or assumption or idea, if you may, is that Visa has made some investments in crypto that did not work out. And now the Pelosi's are selling their shares in Visa, expecting a very bad earnings call to come up.
That's exactly what I'm saying. And it's not, I'm not even going to say that they made bad investments into crypto. They made bad investments into crypto platforms. In addition to that, because of their consulting service, they weren't consulting you and I. They were consulting other big investors, other financial institutions. So did they consult some other financial institutions into getting into Three Arrows or Genesis or some of these other platforms? It's a stretch, I know, but it's something fun to watch anyway.
Let me give you an early would you rather. I know it's not that part in the show, but it's part now.
Okay, yes, I would rather short Visa than do whatever you're going to say.
Oh, okay. Well, it was going to be short Visa.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah. Would you rather short Visa, or would you rather put money into Bitcoin for 1 day? So you have the chance of whatever Bitcoin moves in the next 24 hours. You have to hold it for 24 hours and then you can get out. Or would you rather short Visa? How much do you believe in that short?
I'll short Visa.
Ooh, okay.
I can't think of a would you rather right now that I would rather do, that I'm more confident on.
So shorting Visa, that's the big play today.
If I was, I'm not a financial advisor, but if I was capable and able to short, I don't know, the same amount he did, 2,000, 2,500 shares, whatever it is, short it all right now in anticipation of next week, let's go. Because the banking reports weren't good either. And now they're trying to spin Netflix losing 1 million subscribers into good news. It's the best bad news they could have, I guess, but you're losing 1 million subscribers.
Yikes. Yeah.
That's not good.
Never good.
But I think that's part of it, where they're trying to spin some of this into not being so bad, because the bad news has kind of stalled. The market has stalled. The bleeding has stopped for now.
Let me ask you one more question. What do you have more faith in? Visa going down 10% after these earning calls, or the Ethereum merge happening in September?
Visa.
I thought so.
Well, and also how long? I don't think it's going to go down necessarily 10% that day, but I'll tell you what, I would take Visa going down 10% at some point between their earnings call and the Ethereum merge, whenever that may be.
That's fair.
Okay. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think that that ETH is actually going to hit? I mean, it'll be the first time that they've hit their anticipated date in, I don't know, 6 years.
I keep hearing September, and I haven't heard it move back in a while. So I'm inclined to believe September will happen. It might be September 30th, but it could be September.
I'll take the over.
You'll take the over on September 30th?
I'll take the over on this year.
On this year?
I don't believe him. I hadn't seen it happen yet. Not worried about it.
We may have to do a side bet.
Side bet is on.
All right. After the market news.
All right. Well, that's the real big world market news for now. As far as crypto market news, like I said earlier, MATIC's done really well. They had a good move up with some good news from Disney. I think that is good news, and I think that's good long-term news. I wouldn't hate getting into MATIC right now, even though it's up at 90 cents and it's moved up probably close to 100% in the last month or so. I think that long-term it's going to be good. You've got that much money and power coming in to back you up, man. I think that that's a really good move. I think that if this would have happened last year at this time, MATIC wouldn't be anywhere close to being down as low as it is. It couldn't have gone down that much. I think that if this news would have hit in a bull market, your face would have got melted off going into some MATIC. Ripple news. So Jed McCaleb sold the last of his Ripple over the weekend. So that really slows down the amount of Ripple hitting the market every month like it has for the last 6 or 7 years. So that's good news for Ripple holders. I think that they've got the SEC on the ropes, but I think that you've got the congressmen coming in that don't know anything about cryptocurrency, declaring it to be a security while it's in court to decide whether or not it's a security. I think it's bad form on his part, but I mean, that's part of it. That's part of the game. I would like to see what banks have backed him though. And which one of them has put money into his coffer, because that's the only way that it could be. Craig, shall we move on and discuss a little bit of the challenge today?
Let's do it.
So the rules of the challenge are each week, Craig and I will allocate $100 into our challenge account, and it is basically a race to $100,000 based off of the allocation of $100 a week. Once the money is in the account, we are free to do with it as we please. We can hold it and sit on it. We can trade it. We can short it. We can long it. We can farm it or stake it. It is up to us. So right now, Craig, last week you went into a Bitcoin bot, and I bet it's doing good since Bitcoin's up. What are your numbers at?
Well, so quick recap of the update I gave last week, where I had a bot that was on 1% grids, and I was unhappy with the amount of arbitrages that it was performing over that time, and the grids just weren't making a whole lot of profit. Now, this week, I will also say the grids aren't making an extreme amount of profit. It is up almost $6, so about 2% on the week, which gives it a grid APR of about 104% a year if it were to go at this rate, which of course nothing ever continues at the same rate. But you tie that with the growth in Bitcoin, and I am up 18% on the week for a total of $53 on the week. So feeling pretty good on that end. But more importantly, if you remember, I said I was going to change my grid percentage, and I moved it from 1% to 0.4%. Kind of an odd number, didn't make it too round, but I wanted 0.5%, and I just decided I'll make it a tad smaller. And my goal was to get one arbitrage every hour or two, and I'm getting much more than that. I have 178 arbitrages over the last week, so getting close to 200 trades that just rack up little amounts of money at a time. I want to say it's around, that math is hard for me. It's like 3 cents at a time. It's like 3 cents every time, and that's happening every hour. So small, consistent money coming in on a small amount of money in the account. If you were to look at this in terms of, I put just over $300 in for this last week on the bot. If I had $30,000 in there, if I was just trying to be into Bitcoin with a larger amount of money and grid trade it, those grids would have been $578 on the week with that sum. And I would have been very happy with that. But bound to the rules of the challenge, I stuck with the $300 I had to allocate.
Okay. Well, with me, I went in on a couple of shorts. Of course, come Friday, I got slammed with them and I kind of got stopped out there. On Saturday, I hit a couple of longs, so I started getting into a couple of longs because everything looked good. Everything looked like it was starting to move back, and I don't like fighting the current flow of the market. I don't like pushing against whatever. It's kind of like the fight in the Fed rule that we talked about in one of those earlier podcasts. I don't like to fight the flow of the market. I think that moving forward, it's going up until it doesn't, and I know that that's common sense, but in this bear market, we can still have the relief rally. So again, being cautiously optimistic. Right now, Bitcoin is at 24,175. My number was 22.7. So once it broke that 22.7, I felt like we were moving in the right direction. I did go into a Bitcoin long yesterday in the other another account that's not the challenge account. Currently in the challenge account where I'm at is I've gone into a long on Avalanche. So I really like where Avalanche is right now. It's right on my line for getting in. So I got in about an hour ago. 25.74 is the line for me to get in. I really want it to bounce off this. It's hit it 3 times, and it's currently just over that. But I'm waiting for it to really take off, and then I'll unload a little bit more into it. But again, I'm not emptying all my dry powder into the market right now. But I do think that we can see another good push the rest of today. But I am nervous about tomorrow, so I'm going to be watching very closely. If I can clip another 3 or 4% on this trade that I'm in right now and get out, I will, just to see what happens tomorrow. And if I miss a few percent between now and then, it's not that big of a deal.
So, Alan, what are you looking at doing with your extra $100 this week in the challenge?
Well, I'm still looking here. If I can get this, if I can get Avalanche to get on over this hump right here where it's at this 25.74 mark, and it goes ahead and pushes through it, I may go ahead and push the rest of it into Avalanche again on a long, and it's short. The intent is to scalp it and to get out. We've had several big moves with ETH has had a big push up, MATIC's had a big push up. But I think that those have kind of run their course. I think that we're still waiting on Bitcoin and Avalanche. I think Solana is another good one. Once it breaks 46, oh man, it's got a lot of room to run. DOT's kind of in the same boat. Once it breaks about 8.25, I think it's got a lot of room to run. Phantom had a really big run already, so that one's kind of ran its course. And I'm kind of looking through my list. I'd like to see Theta have a run. Sand, we talked about short and Sand last week, and that was one that I was a little disappointed that I didn't get in on, because I would have definitely hit that on that short. But now it's pushed up well beyond where I'd planned on shorting it at to start. So I'm good right now. I'm watching Avalanche and Solana are the two that I'm watching for the challenge. But on private account, I'm looking. I've got Bitcoin right now, and I may reload into Bitcoin again.
I want you to know, and I don't know if you realize this, but I have never once bought Bitcoin before this challenge. And ever since, it has went up.
I would say buy more and let it run up, because I think once we get through this, I think if we can break that 25,000, we're looking at 28,000. The next mark after that's going to be 32. I'm looking at it right now, and I do believe if we don't have a pullback soon, that yes, 28,000 is the next level of resistance. And if it can get above that, then the next level of resistance is that mental 30,000. So I'm definitely looking for it to go up to 28 here in the next several days and test it at least once. And I think I'm going to put my next $100 right into that same bot I have that's been doing so well. Let it ride up, and then if we can get a test off that 28, I will either short it if I can confirm that resistance is not going to get broken, or I may just pull the money out of the bot at 28 and just wait and see what's going to happen. Well, are you concerned about tomorrow at all? I know with the bots, you don't have to worry about it because if it comes down, the bot's doing its thing. But are you concerned at all about the impact of the gas issue in Russia?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it earlier, where just global news will affect the market to certain degrees. And I do want to probably wait 1 or 2 days before I put that extra 100 in, just to see what's going to happen and hope that I don't miss this going up even higher. But I'll take the risk of missing out on another 1,000 on Bitcoin to avoid the risk of this goes right back down to the $20,000 mark where it was a few days ago because of bad global news.
Well, we talk a little bit about risk, and I'm the one that is the riskier of the two of us. I prefer to take those bigger risks. And this is not one of the times when I'm looking at doing that. I'm in the same boat as you are. I kind of want to wait and see if everything looks like it's starting to turn a little bit this afternoon. I may pull everything out and then just reload tomorrow after more news comes out on the pipeline. But as far as the rest of the show, we're pretty much down to the would you rather, and you've already used yours.
So I guess it's my turn to answer.
Well, I want to change the rules.
Oh, geez. Okay, what is it?
We've got all this great positive news that's out right now. A lot of people are getting really excited. They're starting to FOMO in. They're looking at, is this the bull market coming back or not? What I want to know is if you, with your $100, if you had to invest it into 5 cryptos that you couldn't touch for the next 2 years.
2 years.
2 years, and so it's not even DCA. It's you've got $100, 5 cryptos. You can decide what percentage goes into each one of those cryptos, but which 5 would you put your money in to get the most return off of your $100 in 2 years?
Well, I definitely want to be into the big players. I want to be in Bitcoin and Ethereum and Binance Coin. Outside of those 3, I think Ripple is another one that I definitely want to be involved in. And then I believe the 5th one, I may go a little riskier just because we're talking about maximum return. So something that can really pump up, I mean, it's got to be Burger. But in all seriousness, I would probably put it in MATIC. I think MATIC has a really large opportunity to grow, and we saw it really drive this market back up from its stagnation. It was a key catalyst in this little pump that we've had over the last few days. So I think those would be the 5. It'd be Bitcoin, Ethereum, BNB, Ripple, and MATIC.
I like it. So if it's me, I've got 2 that kind of carry over with you. My strategy is a little bit different because I'm looking at the most potential growth over the next 2 years. So I've got MATIC and Ripple as well. And the Ripple shot is more or less, if they can win that lawsuit, I think that they will be the only other crypto that's declared not a security. So that gives them a little bit more influence throughout the other financial sectors, and it's got good utility. So that's why I would go with Ripple, and it's fairly cheap, around that 37 cents mark. So I like their current price as well. MATIC, I'm a believer in. We discussed that as well with Disney. I like that. And then my other 3, Cardona. Cannot believe you wouldn't go with Cardona. I love Cardona. I love Charles Hoskinson, and I love his approach is let's do it right to start with and not try to wait 6 years like Ethereum and fix the problems on the back end. My other 2, I'm going to go with Avalanche. It's my pricier of my selections, right around that $25 mark right now. So that's my kind of high-end one. And then lastly, I went with a metaverse play with Sand. Now, what I like about Sand is that it's got some big names and it's got some talk out there. It's fairly inexpensive, but you've got Snoop Dogg that's out there building in the metaverse on Sand and has the ability to pull in that younger generation. I'm digging it.
Well, if we've learned anything from the last year or so, is that a celebrity endorsement can do a lot. Just look at Elon Musk. He didn't have to do anything with Doge or Shiba. He just talks about them, and they go ballistic.
Yeah, well, with this, if you've got them, that's the celebrities that are actually being able to be interactive with people on the metaverse, where they're actually getting in there playing some of the games with them, and he can sell his own products in there, and it's a way to make money. And again, it's got some utility to it. Now, it may not be the all-in-one winner of the metaverse, but it can be a winner in the metaverse. So I wanted a little bit of exposure with that. So for me, my 5 that I would be looking at if I had $100 to put in